Abusia Suhum MP Obuafo Kwadwo Asante enei ono so pictures one afenyo markings ene mpanifo aka ewo NPP mu aba abonten chese ono so confirm se enei ye kasa ide se sei Suhum ho no enya de se okọ as an independent candidate biem ono so eba no ni NPP aba ba ye adwuma busia eno na ye busa Sam George se ensemi aba betodwa sesei Cynthia Mamile Morrison ese wo call back Suhum MP so wo call back no ofa ne sen ana sesei no automatically NPP enya majority na usia Sam George echiremu da bi enya de se speaker ebeje o matomu back se omo ye NPP fo biem esan emra bi wo chiremu ehye constitution ni mu usia mepese ebekọ ne akwa pictures ene ade Suhum MP Obuafo Kwadwo Asante waba back to NPP ene Sam George nso so adwen kira o chiremu enya de se speaker ebesa age wo mo back esan se omo ntimi nkoha ensa ama ha anytime omo pebia.
Interesting developments from Ghana's parliament. I just received pictures and so Jackson enti mamemfa we nso Morrison na one the majority leader na omo HR pictures in his office and other MPs. Now, I've just also received pictures from Suhum MP. Now they are to okay. So when you see a Suhum MP, I say the DNA or Boafo, if it means anything, I say Honorable Kofi Sintasifua about the cancer or no member of Parliament for Old Tafo.
This actually shows say MPs no na omai so moko content crowd. They have now rescinded their decision because Oshe Omuja now show Bibi as only a true MPP party persons. But because of one or two things, happy, they felt say Ombeko content grow. In the end, they've seen that their actions and inactions, probably maybe causing the party. They've thrown in the towel to say, for the love of my party, they've decided not to go for the independent anymore.
And you're late, Dodo. The harm has already been caused, no?
Well, that's what somebody will say, but other people will also say, by way of reasoning, I just say, and party, and see this exhibition of their love for the party is welcoming. And of course, over Parliament, that's not what they said. The BNCU. Yes. Just the fact that they are not happy about how they lost their primaries. And say maybe certain things could have been done better or in a certain way. It's a common lusu in a way in their own estimation. At the end fair there then. Could be the problem, but unfortunately, no. But of course, this is enough to show that they have deep-seated love for the party. But it doesn't really mean anything to me because
pictures now.
Yes, the Inter-America say the speaker has not been right in his ruling, and so.
Based on no understanding of the provisions, no?
Absolutely.
Okay. I hear say microphone you low into your hand.
I've always had that long-standing position. Say speaker, no, first and foremost, for him to have even ruled on the matter of Campo, no, we need 2 minutes or the best idea. We need 2 minutes because me who say idea no say you can say Obia resign ya. And no dear, you clear. You don't need a soothsayer to tell this Obia resign. There's no question of ambiguity, and I said there's no question to be answered. There's no question. There's no ambiguity. 97 one no kasa no way now. You can say Parliament a dissolve here, and I said dissolution of Parliament and Yaba we share by 6th of January. Next, maybe first term no. I end it. There's no question. It means that my seat has been vacated. There's no question. But don't go share Article 99 on the account honoma. I trust that when there is a question, the German High Court, no High Court determine say, we know there is a question as to whether a seat
is vacant or not.
Okay, the principles in Akosa that when rival meanings have been put onto a provision in the Constitution that it will have to be interpreted. And no, another who say, also Speaker of Parliament, they who know the fact say, Michael Kofi, echo Ruli Adiane in 2020. When you read the 24 verses Attorney General, or say the Constitution is a living organism. The Constitution is capable of growth. So if a ruling or if a judgment has been given in 2020, it does not mean that the Supreme Court or the court cannot review its own decision.
Sure.
It will assess the circumstances currently in modern times
to inform
the decision I will be making. So it is a bogus argument for anybody to tell me, say, oh, Michael Kofi ruling. But you see, even the circumstances that led to the ruling of Michael Kofi is different from this one. Because party, at the time can say, oh, nipa no crown is say ya no onkan ho bio. Ya tro dia bro. So nipa no nya de onkan ho bio. Na nipa na so aka. So ono kron ka party no bio. Party no form party. Indeed, when see parliament. But wait there. Oba parliament Kojo Oba parliament at some time in China mete Oba what NPP side, he's still doing business with NPP
because he as per 97(1)(g), because he entered parliament on the ticket of the NPP
and he wants to
for a 4-year term,
and he wants to end the parliament on the
ticket of the NPP.
But I've only
the speaker said when you open that floodgate, then you have a chaotic parliament.
It is not in his math.
Oh, it would be chaotic.
It is not in his math. And then kudus obohe Western.
Yes.
Or shogus of Western and said just last week EDM said, oh yeah, red card. If Liverpool decides to sign kudus during the January transfer, that's almost signing in December and I said November. Does it mean Kudus ceases to be a player with West Ham? Is that what you are saying? Kudus will still play for West Ham, but in January transfer, he will leave
for Liverpool.
To Liverpool. It's the same argument here. When you are interpreting the Constitution, you have to interpret it in such a way, say, the intent of the framers of the Constitution are at play. I do not think that the intent of the framers of the 1992 Constitution wanted to say oh, so be per se or cross the carpet, free one political party to the other, and I say from one political party to be an independent person. You have to do it at the same time, the same parliament. Like what happened with the business, you may call the other side
in that same parliament term,
and that to my estimation, and not a year, the right interpretation of the law. No, because until we na so that me cranement me join part we be some just say notice of poll is enough to.
Yeah, that's what the speaker said. The speaker based the ruling prima facie why he thinks the people have switched to another party because of notice of poll.
Law school by notice of poll. And for the free
Electoral Commission
almost
the Constitution of the Republic.
The Constitution of the Republic, but also a mobile parliament.
Sure.
By way of a constitutional instrument to regulate the elections.
Yes.
And so it's a CI.
Yes.
The CI is a subsidiary legislation.
Yes.
Yes. Now subsidiary legislation, I can't say now it's the Constitution 1992 Constitution Article 97 and the subsidiary legislation. Also here in Abefa.
Constitution.
So that is the point. So that argument doesn't come in.
Well made, but now we are told. I mean, it's all over on social media. We've seen pictures of the NPP's leader who happens to be Honorable Afenyo Markin in Parliament. Who pictures of Onoeni Cynthia Morrison and some other members of Parliament. The narrative they say we're rescinding the decision to want to go independent. Of course, we are waiting for her letter to the Electoral Commission officially. But Sekoko Banesa put it now to Parliament.
So you see, you cannot again, Obi, Yankai Article 19 Article 97.
Yes.
Let me just pull it up.
Okay, I have it here.
Fantastic.
97.1. 1G, yeah. In 1G, G in the case, if he leaves the party. Okay. In the preamble, it says a member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament. G, if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in parliament as an independent member.
Fantastic. Now, Obi, if you read this provision of the Constitution,
yes,
in conjunction with the NPP's own Constitution,
yes,
and it also applies to the NDP.
Yes.
So we free party name and in fact another party dealing and as an independent candidate, you automatically lose your membership of the political party. Now, once that has become the case, the Constitution in Article 97 1G says you must vacate your seat. Notice of that vacation has been brought to the Speaker's notice. Evidence of the vacation is the notice of polls the Electoral Commission has put out. I'm a speaker. I can say you have vacated. He is notified as a what vacating you see. You cannot, after vacating your seat, come back and say, it's not like that. That is what happened to the Honorable Kofi Asante. Do you remember Kofi Asante case? Free NDC to NPP. He hoped he will remain in Parliament, and he was told no. You have to go and take part in a by-election. He went and lost. So you cannot vacate your seat and a week later or 2 weeks later come back and say it doesn't work that way. These are legal constitutional matters. It doesn't work that way. Mean to me, sorry, then a week later I come back and say what does it work that way? And let me show you a typical example using me as an example. In 2015, who can I say many honorable students and engineers for primary school?
Yes.
In that primary, my cousin who has contested me in 2019 and 2023 filed to contest in that election. He was disqualified. You know why he was disqualified? In 2010, he contested Honorable 80 in the primary. On losing here, no, he went to the NDP and filed as the NDP's parliamentary candidate. When he filed to become the candidate, after the notice of polls were put out, 3 weeks to the election, and I'll say, was stepping down, or throw a letter at the Electoral Commission. But in 2015, he was disqualified by the NDP because the NDP said you needed to have been a contesting or filing a nomination. So he lost his membership of the party. So yes, he came back to the party 3 weeks to the 2012 election. But between that period and the primaries in 2015, he had only been a member for 3 years, not 4 years. Because the clock on his membership had reset. That is how political parties run.
Yeah, but
the Morrison see was signing Chiapa and there. She cannot come back and say the Constitution in Article 97 1G. Yes, because
yeah, but Sam, again, I'll take you back to the Constitution and also to Muankasa in Parliament standing on the Samode Juma. And the Speaker, as per Order 18 and 19, you know, it take And I said, oh yeah, on the 17th, by notifying Parliament, and I said, informing Parliament about a vacancy.
Yes.
But when him say, no does not automatically create a vacancy. The Clerk of Parliament is supposed to inform the Electoral Commission within 7 days of that vacancy. The Electoral Commission would then have to also remove certificate of return provided to the individual and announce it in a gazette. Of course, every law student in the Evidence Act, when something is published in a gazette, a prima facie have gone through that process relative to the 4 members of Parliament. If that has not happened, then just notifying Parliament about the vacancy being created, does not mean there is a vacancy properly so called. No.
Obi, the Constitution does not demand us to do a gazette for the vacancy to be occasion. But
for it to be operationalized, it has to go through a process.
No. The operationalization is when you have to have a by-election.
Not always with a by-election. When you have to have a by-election, there is a process laid down. Yes. When there is no by-election, there is also a process laid.
An election. The only thing that needs to be done is the notice to the Electoral Commission. True or false?
Yes, the notice to the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission will issue a certificate of return and publish same in the Gazette.
That is not what occasions the vacancy.
But that is what gives effect to the vacancy.
Will not arise. The vacancy in down. It is not the completion of those things that create the vacancy. No. The vacancy is created in 97(1)(g). The moment the person leaves the political party on which they came into Parliament, the vacancy kicks in. All of these other processes are administrative post-facto occurrences. And those are not the things that actualize the vacancy. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about.
No, I understand you. But the American say, now you make the point, say, Obia or affected by speaker decision on the 17th, no? Mm-hmm. That person cannot wake up a week later and come and say, Wasia rescinded that decision, for which reason he has to come back to Parliament.
Because the Constitution does not give them the right or the room or any procedure whatsoever.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, sir.
For anybody to negate on their own the actions in 97(1)(g).
Yes, and I'm telling you, sir, Sam, if we go into the EC's Gazette or more publish it for more and more Parliament, I will see the name Sam George, MP Lingo Pram Pram. Yes. If I go into that Gazette, which is evidence that Sam George is a member of Parliament. Now, as we speak today, I would see the name Cynthia Mamle Morrison for Aguna West. If that is not struck out from that Gazette, a prima facie evidence that she's still a member of Parliament.
Again, I disagree.
Okay, that's fine.
Because the point I'm making, they say she loses her seat in Parliament the moment she does what Article 97(1)(g) says you should not do. Obi, let me just break this down.
Okay.
You are in the employment of multimedia. Now, tomorrow, you have indicated to HR, say, you have a new employment. Meanwhile, your original contract with multimedia ran go and start presenting for that site. Do you expect and anticipate that HR will approve to finance the payment of your salary for November and December, when you are now actively working for another media? HR may not have finished all of the paperwork, sending to the bank, notifying them in this October, and go and meet a sponsor of the Asempa Drive Time Ecosystem show and be negotiating a sponsorship deal for Ecosystem. Because even though the processes leading to the termination of your payment of salary may not have been completed by you are presenting for the spice group of companies, if you do so, it is fraudulent misrepresentation. It's a crime. I don't know if this example breaks it down and explains it for you and your listeners what the effect of 971G is relative to the post facto administrative processes the clerk and the EC have to do.
Yeah, I still hold your opinion respectfully, sir. The what you call post facto administrative processes, no, are what would operationalize the vacancy. But we can have that argument on another day. We can have that. But now me say Busa say Ebase because the speaker Nika say the proof for him a notice of post say the can electoral commission issue no. If Cynthia Mamle Morrison, for example, let the letter come electoral commission. Now EC and then your extra every notice of pool nimua. What happens?
You see, that's the point I'm making. That the Constitution does not anticipate flippant behavior from an honorable member of Parliament. Say, no. Such behavior is not anticipated of anybody holding the seriously high office of member of Parliament. No. So the Constitution itself does not give room for you to say that I have changed my mind, and because of that, the vacancy that was occasioned constitutionally, is no longer there. No, it doesn't work that way.
Very well.